Roger Goodell just dropped a bombshell the NFL and the entire football world will never forget. Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski has been banned for life. Not a suspension, not a slap on the wrist. Lifetime, gone from professional football forever. And the reason? A leaked audio recording exposing a shocking, systematic conspiracy to suppress the development of Shador Sanders, the young quarterback who was supposed to be the future of the franchise. This isn't just a story about a coach making unpopular decisions. This isn't about a bad game plan or a questionable roster move. This is organizational sabotage at the highest level, deliberate manipulation of talent, and a betrayal that reaches every corner of the team, from the locker room to the front office, and all the way to ownership. The story begins with 47 seconds of audio, posted anonymously on Twitter, capturing what insiders claim was a private Browns coaching staff meeting. Within minutes, the clip went viral. Retweets exploded. Reddit threads erupted with thousands of comments. Social media had never seen anything like it, and for those who have followed Shador Sanders' journey, every suspicious decision, every controversial practice structure, every puzzling depth chart adjustment suddenly made chilling sense. The audio allegedly features Stefanski himself saying, "If Shador plays, the veterans will revolt. We keep him benched no matter what." No matter what. Not based on merit, not based on talent, not based on preparation. A premeditated decision to hold back a player who, by every measurable standard, deserved the starting spot. And it didn't stop there. According to reports, the coaching staff manipulated practice reps, controlled game plans, and ensured that Dillon Gabriel, the backup quarterback, received all the real preparation, while Sanders was relegated to scrimmage work against the practice squad. Media wouldn't notice. Ownership saw Sanders' name at the top of the depth chart. Everyone appeared satisfied, except the player whose career was being undermined. This wasn't a matter of coaching preference. It was a deliberate, systematic effort to suppress talent, a violation of every principle professional football claims to uphold. Within hours, the story exploded beyond social media. National outlets interrupted programming. Analysts like Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp went on air, furious, calling the situation unprecedented. Even the league commissioner, who rarely intervenes in coaching matters, personally stepped in. Goodell consulted legal counsel, contacted the NFL Players Association, and after thorough review, decided to issue the most severe punishment in league history, a lifetime ban. Stefanski joined an infamous list of individuals in professional sports whose actions were so destructive, so ethically bankrupt, that permanent expulsion was the only fitting response. This story isn't just about a coach or a quarterback. It's about power, manipulation, and the fragile balance of integrity in professional sports. It's about the ripple effects a single decision or a single audio leak can have on a team, a fan base, and a league. And it's about Shador Sanders, whose career, reputation, and future were nearly derailed before it even began. Stay tuned, because what happened next didn't just change Cleveland. It sent shockwaves through the NFL, raised uncomfortable questions about accountability, and set the stage for a season no one will forget. The scandal all began with just 47 seconds of audio. Posted anonymously on Twitter, the clip allegedly captured a private Browns coaching staff meeting from weeks earlier, and it was enough to ignite a wildfire across the internet. Within minutes, the audio spread like lightning. Retweets multiplied, Reddit threads erupted with thousands of comments, and fans across the world were glued to their screens, trying to piece together what they were hearing. This wasn't a typical coaching controversy. It was the confirmation of every suspicion fans had held about Shador Sanders' treatment since he was drafted. In the clip, the voice claimed to be Kevin Stefanski is unmistakable. He allegedly lays out a plan to suppress Sanders no matter his performance. "If Shador plays, the veterans will revolt. We keep him benched no matter what," he reportedly says. Pause and consider that. No matter the talent, no matter the preparation, not even based on merit, the decision had already been made. Every first-team practice rep, every offensive scheme, every game plan could be manipulated to keep Sanders from thriving. The implications are staggering. This wasn't just a case of a coach favoring one player over another. It was a deliberate attempt to control the trajectory of a young quarterback's career. The audio doesn't stop there. Allegedly, offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey supports Stefanski's plan, noting that Gabriel would get full preparation, while Sanders is limited to scrimmage reps against the practice squad. The deception is carefully designed so media and ownership remain unaware, while Sanders' development stagnates. Every move is orchestrated to give the illusion of fairness while systematically undermining the player. Fans and analysts immediately understood the gravity. Social media exploded with hashtags demanding accountability. Supporters of Sanders celebrated proof of what they had long suspected, while other fans expressed horror at the level of organizational dysfunction exposed in just under a minute of audio. For the Browns, this 47-second recording wasn't just an embarrassment. It was an indictment of leadership, coaching ethics, and the culture inside the organization. And yet, as the clip continued to circulate, the questions multiplied. Who recorded it? How did it leak? And why would someone risk everything to expose it? The answer to those questions, and the consequences that followed, would soon reshape not only the Browns but the entire NFL. The leaked audio revealed something far darker than a coaching preference. It exposed a calculated, systematic suppression of Shador Sanders. Every first-team practice rep, every play call, every drill had allegedly been manipulated to stunt his development while giving Dillon Gabriel all the preparation he needed. Sanders could have been the starter on merit alone, but according to what insiders claim, the decision had already been made. Gabriel would get the real reps. Sanders would be limited to scrimmages against the practice squad. Every move carefully orchestrated so that, on paper, Sanders appeared to be at the top of the depth chart while in reality, his talent was deliberately stifled. The audio suggests this wasn't an isolated incident. It was a pattern spanning weeks. Offensive strategies, red zone packages, mobility-focused schemes, everything that could showcase Sanders' strengths was minimized. Every questionable depth chart decision, every time he mysteriously received 0 first-team reps despite outperforming Gabriel in camp, suddenly had a clear explanation. This wasn't incompetence, it was intentional. Fans who had wondered why Sanders wasn't starting, or why certain plays seemed designed to limit his creativity, suddenly understood the chilling truth. Reports claim the coaching staff's manipulation extended beyond practices. Game plans were allegedly tailored to favor Gabriel, controlling the narrative while keeping Sanders' potential under wraps. Media would see a quarterback on paper who appeared ready, while the reality of his suppressed development remained hidden. Ownership, oblivious or misled, was kept in the dark, while the players most affected, Sanders included, were trapped in a toxic, controlled environment. The implications go beyond football strategy. If true, this is deliberate interference with a player's career, potentially exposing the organization to legal consequences. Within hours of the leak, social media erupted not just in outrage, but in vindication. Sanders' supporters celebrated proof of what they had long suspected, while others expressed horror at the culture that allowed such manipulation to occur. Legal analysts began weighing in, discussing whether deliberate suppression of a player could constitute grounds for lawsuits against the organization. The pattern was clear. This wasn't about coaching decisions or roster management. It was a carefully constructed scheme to control talent, a betrayal of trust, and a direct assault on fairness in professional football. And while the controversy spread online, the broader questions began to surface. How deep did this go? Was Stefanski acting alone, or was the front office complicit? And if one player could be held back so deliberately, how many others might have suffered in silence? The moment the audio went public, social media erupted like a storm no one saw coming. Hashtags demanding accountability for Kevin Stefanski trended worldwide within hours. Retweets, quote tweets, and comments multiplied exponentially. On Reddit, threads grew into sprawling discussions, dissecting every second of the 47-second clip. Fans were divided but intensely engaged. Some celebrated the long-suspected truth finally being exposed. Others expressed horror at the scale of alleged betrayal inside the Browns organization. The outrage wasn't just local, it became global. prominent sports analysts immediately weighed in, amplifying the frenzy. Stephen A. Smith appeared on emergency broadcasts, visibly furious, calling it one of the most shocking scandals in modern NFL history. Shannon Sharpe, too, shared scathing commentary late into the night, connecting the situation to broader questions of coaching ethics and accountability. Every statement from analysts, every viral clip of commentary, only fueled the conversation further. Within hours, millions of views had been generated across platforms, and the story wasn't slowing down. Fans took sides quickly. Sanders supporters expressed vindication, citing past questionable roster decisions, practice structures, and game plans that now made perfect sense. "We knew he was being held back," one viral tweet read. On the other side, traditionalists and diehard Browns fans struggled to reconcile their loyalty with the growing evidence of internal corruption. The emotional whiplash was palpable. For some, the scandal undermined their faith in the organization. For others, it was a moment of long-overdue justice for a player who had been denied his opportunity. The scale of the reaction caught even seasoned media experts off guard. Within the first evening alone, over 2 million tweets referenced the scandal. Analysts dissected motives, speculated on leaks, and debated organizational responsibility. Podcasters and sports networks interrupted scheduled programming to cover the story in real time, interviewing fans, experts, and insiders. The intensity of the coverage was unprecedented for a coaching controversy. And beyond reactions, the audio sparked a flood of questions. Who recorded the meeting? Why risk career and reputation to leak it? Could one anonymous post really reshape an organization? For fans, analysts, and players alike, the answers mattered. The conversation quickly transcended football. It became a cultural phenomenon about accountability, integrity, and the power dynamics in professional sports. The social media storm didn't just report the scandal. It amplified its consequences, forcing the league, the Browns organization, and even the players themselves to confront the fallout. And the story was only getting started. As the social media storm reached a fever pitch, the NFL could no longer remain on the sidelines. Rarely does the commissioner personally intervene in coaching decisions, but Roger Goodell stepped in directly, and the consequences were unprecedented. Sources claim Goodell reviewed the leaked audio, consulted legal counsel, and even contacted the NFL Players Association before making an immediate, decisive move. This wasn't a case of delegated oversight or procedural investigation. This was the commissioner taking control of a crisis that threatened the league's credibility, competitive fairness, and public image. Within hours, the NFL issued a statement that stunned fans and analysts alike. It condemned deliberate manipulation of players, suppression of talent, and any actions undermining competitive integrity. The league's language was unmistakable. Any deliberate action to manipulate players, suppress talent development, or undermine competitive fairness violates the fundamental trust between our league, our teams, and our fans. This was more than a reprimand. It was a clear message that the NFL would hold individuals fully accountable, no matter their position or past achievements. Then came the decision that would dominate headlines. Kevin Stefanski was banned for life from all NFL activities, not suspended, not fined, lifetime ban, permanently removed from professional football. The severity shocked even veteran observers. Comparisons to other high-profile lifetime bans in professional sports, Pete Rose in baseball, Donald Sterling in basketball, started flooding social media and news outlets. Analysts emphasized that the penalty was historic in scale and symbolic in message. The league would not tolerate deliberate, systematic sabotage of a player's career. Legal analysts immediately began questioning the scope of Goodell's authority. Could a commissioner unilaterally end a coach's career? What role would the players' union play? Could a Stefanski challenge the decision in court? The questions were significant, but the league appeared prepared for any legal confrontation. Investigators had reportedly already verified the audio, interviewed coaching staff, front office personnel, and even players. Corroborating evidence suggested this wasn't an isolated lapse. It was a documented, deliberate pattern of suppression. For the Browns and the broader NFL, the commissioner's action represented a watershed moment. It wasn't just about punishing one coach. It was about reinforcing league-wide standards of integrity, fairness, and accountability. The message was clear. Coaching conspiracies that sabotage player development would no longer be tolerated, and anyone attempting such deception risked permanent removal. The NFL had drawn a line in the sand, and the fallout would ripple far beyond Cleveland. The fallout from the Stefanski scandal didn't stop at the sideline. It shook the entire Cleveland Browns organization to its core. Ownership, front office, and coaching staff were suddenly under an intense spotlight, forced to answer questions that had long been ignored or swept under the rug. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam held an emergency press conference just hours after the lifetime ban was announced. Standing beside Shador Sanders, Haslam issued a pointed statement. The organization had failed, Sanders' talent would no longer be obstructed, and decisive steps were being taken to ensure accountability at every level. The message was clear. The era of secrecy, manipulation, and favoritism was over. But public apologies could not erase the deeper questions. How much did ownership know? Was General Manager Andrew Barry aware of the deliberate suppression? His carefully worded statement, claiming ignorance while pledging fair opportunities moving forward, only fueled speculation. Legal teams and league investigators reportedly began scrutinizing communication records, emails, and meeting notes, trying to determine the extent of front office complicity. Every interaction, every decision, every memo was suddenly under the microscope. The coaching staff faced immediate upheaval. Stefanski's assistants were individually interviewed, some cooperating fully to distance themselves from the scandal, others refusing to comment and risking career consequences. Offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey, whose voice allegedly appeared in the leaked audio, was placed on administrative leave pending further investigation. With leadership in chaos, Cleveland promoted defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz to interim head coach. Schwartz, a seasoned veteran, brought calm and clarity, focusing the team on football and restoring some stability amid weeks of dysfunction. Inside the locker room, the impact was immediate. Veterans who had quietly supported Gabriel now publicly backed Sanders. Neutral players aligned with the new organizational direction, rallying behind their quarterback and the team's leadership. Yet the scars of internal betrayal remained. Trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. While clarity emerged in quarterback hierarchy, the broader organizational culture would require careful reconstruction. Meanwhile, analysts, fans, and players watched closely. Free agents reconsidered interest in joining a franchise recently exposed as deeply dysfunctional. Draft prospects questioned the stability of a team caught in ethical turmoil. The Browns had acted decisively to correct the immediate injustice, but the long-term ramifications of the scandal, legal battles, public scrutiny, and reputation damage would echo for years. Cleveland had cleared the path for Sanders, but the rebuilding process, both on and off the field, was just beginning.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button.
Behind every scandal is a spark, and in this case, it was the anonymous whistleblower who leaked the audio. No one knows for sure who recorded the private Browns coaching meeting, but the act itself took enormous courage. Risking career, reputation, and potentially legal consequences, this individual exposed a systematic conspiracy that, if left unchecked, could have derailed Shador Sanders' career entirely. Theories abound. Some suggest it was a disgruntled assistant coach appalled by the ethics violations. Others speculate a player, fed up with the manipulation, used facility equipment to capture the conversation. A third theory points to front office personnel acting on ownership's behalf, creating evidence to justify Stefanski's removal while shielding the organization from broader liability. Ohio's one-party consent law adds an interesting legal layer. In theory, if one participant approved the recording, it could be legal, but NFL facilities maintain strict policies. Whoever took the audio risked termination, lawsuits, or even criminal exposure. Regardless of method, the whistleblower changed the course of events permanently. Their decision triggered an unprecedented response. A lifetime ban, emergency organizational changes, and public acknowledgement that player suppression carries real consequences. The implications ripple far beyond Cleveland. Every coach in the NFL now understands that deliberate manipulation of talent, systematic suppression, or favoritism could end their career if exposed. The league has drawn a line, signaling that accountability is no longer optional. Yet critics question whether the severity of Stefanski's punishment was entirely about justice or partially about public perception. Would the commissioner have acted with the same decisiveness if an unknown backup quarterback had been suppressed instead of Shador Sanders, whose name carries cultural weight and media attention? Regardless of motivation, the outcome sets a precedent. Player protection, organizational transparency, and coaching accountability are now under an unprecedented microscope. Agents are reportedly demanding stronger contractual guarantees for clients, including playing time clauses, independent development reviews, and arbitration mechanisms to prevent suppression. Players throughout the league are watching closely, realizing that systemic manipulation, once invisible, now has real, career-ending consequences. This whistleblower didn't just expose a single unethical coach. They sparked a conversation about fairness, integrity, and power in professional sports. The action forced the NFL, the Browns, and fans worldwide to confront uncomfortable truths. Talent can be deliberately stifled. Organizations can prioritize personal agendas over merit, and sometimes it takes one courageous voice to change the game forever. In the aftermath of the scandal, all eyes turned to Shador Sanders. How would the young quarterback react after discovering that his development had been deliberately sabotaged? For 2 days, he remained publicly silent, social media accounts dark, no interviews granted. Sources close to Sanders suggest he was processing the situation privately, weighing how to respond thoughtfully while surrounded by family and trusted advisors. Unlike many in his position, he didn't lash out or seek revenge. Instead, he focused on the one thing he could control: his preparation and performance on the field. When Sanders finally spoke to the media, his statement was measured, mature, and revealing. He expressed disappointment that the situation had occurred, clarified he never wished harm on anyone, and emphasized that his goal remained to earn his starting role through hard work and performance. "What happened wasn't what I wanted," he said. "But now I can focus on football, helping the team win, and proving I belong here through my play, not controversy." The composure and clarity displayed by a rookie in such a high-pressure environment impressed analysts, teammates, and fans alike. The scandal also shifted player dynamics within the Browns' locker room. Veterans who had previously sided quietly with Dillon Gabriel now publicly supported Sanders. Neutral players, seeing the organizational shift and the commissioner's decisive action, aligned themselves with the new leadership structure. Even Gabriel, the former preferred starter, responded professionally, embracing his backup role and committing to supporting Sanders on and off the field. The maturity and professionalism displayed by both quarterbacks helped stabilize a locker room that had been fractured by internal politics, favoritism, and controversy. Beyond the immediate team, the situation sent a message throughout the league. Younger players watching the Browns saw that even highly publicized manipulation could be challenged and corrected. They observed that maintaining professionalism, focus, and composure, even when mistreated, can earn respect and safeguard a career. Sanders' response demonstrated resilience, emotional intelligence, and leadership potential, qualities essential for a franchise quarterback navigating extraordinary circumstances. By reclaiming control of his narrative and earning his team's trust, Sanders not only set the stage for his future, but also became a symbol of integrity and perseverance. In an environment where talent can be suppressed and decisions manipulated, his measured approach highlighted the power of composure and determination. The young quarterback wasn't just surviving the scandal, he was reshaping the culture around him. The Stefanski scandal didn't just shake the Browns, it reverberated across the entire NFL ecosystem. From sports networks to podcasts, every outlet analyzed the story from every conceivable angle. Analysts debated the ethics of deliberate player suppression, the unprecedented severity of a lifetime ban, and the broader implications for coaching freedom. Media coverage reached saturation levels, dominating headlines, social feeds, and nightly highlight reels. The scandal became a cultural touchpoint, sparking conversations far beyond XS and O's or draft picks. Legally, the implications are staggering. Stefanski's team immediately filed a wrongful termination lawsuit against the Browns and a defamation suit against those responsible for the audio leak. Meanwhile, the league faces questions about the commissioner's authority to impose a lifetime ban. Could the NFL be challenged over due process? Could Shad or Sanders' family pursue claims related to hostile work environment, development interference, or contractual violations? Attorneys estimate millions in legal fees and potential settlements. The unfolding litigation promises to redefine the boundaries of accountability, authority, and organizational responsibility in professional sports. Beyond the courtroom, the scandal has cultural consequences within the NFL. Agents and player representatives are reportedly pushing for stronger contractual protections, including clauses guaranteeing developmental opportunities, independent coaching evaluations, and playing time arbitration. Players, watching closely, recognize that suppression of talent, once invisible, can now have career-ending consequences. The story serves as a warning, reinforcing that fairness, transparency, and accountability are no longer optional values within the league. Socially, the controversy highlighted generational divides among fans. Younger audiences celebrated Sanders' vindication and the league's action, framing it as long overdue justice for a talented player. Older fans expressed more nuanced concerns, questioning whether a single audio clip should carry the weight of a lifetime ban and what precedent this sets for future coaching decisions. The debate transcended football, touching on broader cultural issues like accountability, cancel culture, and the ethics of public exposure in high-stakes professional environments. In the end, the scandal has shifted expectations across multiple fronts. Media scrutiny, legal battles, player empowerment, and fan engagement converge into a perfect storm that will influence not only Cleveland but the league as a whole. The Stefanski case isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a turning point. Coaches, players, organizations, and fans are now navigating a new era where transparency, integrity, and accountability aren't just ideals, they are mandatory. How the NFL adjusts to this precedent will shape professional football for years to come. The Stefanski scandal didn't just rock the Browns, it sent shockwaves through the entire NFL. Media coverage was relentless. Every network, podcast, and sports website dissected the leaked audio, debated the lifetime ban, and speculated on long-term repercussions. Analysts questioned how the league balances coaching freedom with player protections, while social media amplified every opinion, every clip, and every reaction. The scandal quickly became more than a football story. It evolved into a cultural moment about integrity, fairness, and accountability. Legally, the situation is equally complex. Stefanski's attorneys have filed a wrongful termination lawsuit against the Browns and a defamation claim against the whistleblower. Meanwhile, questions swirl over whether the NFL commissioner overstepped his authority with the lifetime ban. Could the decision face a court challenge? Could Shad or Sanders' family pursue claims related to career interference or hostile work environment? With millions in potential legal fees and settlements, the case is poised to reshape how professional sports handle accountability, authority, and player protections. Beyond the courtroom, the ripple effects are already apparent in league culture. Agents and player representatives are pushing for contractual guarantees to protect clients' development and playing time. Independent coaching evaluations and arbitration clauses are now on the table. Players across the league are watching closely, realizing that talent suppression, once invisible, can carry career-ending consequences. The scandal establishes a new precedent. Systematic manipulation, favoritism, or deliberate hindrance of a player will not go unchecked. Socially, the controversy exposed generational and philosophical divides among fans. Younger supporters celebrated Sanders' vindication and the league's decisive action, framing it as overdue justice. Older or more traditional fans raised concerns about precedent, questioning whether a single audio recording should carry the weight of a lifetime ban. The debate spilled beyond sports, touching on ethics, cancel culture, and public accountability in high-stakes professional environments. Ultimately, the scandal is more than a cautionary tale. It is a turning point. Media scrutiny, legal battles, player empowerment, and fan discourse converge, forcing the NFL to confront transparency, fairness, and integrity like never before. How the league adapts will influence not only Cleveland, but the entire professional football landscape for years to come, redefining expectations for players, coaches, and organizations alike. With the Stefanski scandal behind him, Shador Sanders now faces the ultimate test, leading the Cleveland Browns through a season under a microscope. Expectations are impossibly high. Fans, analysts, and the media aren't just watching games, they're scrutinizing every throw, every decision, and every leadership move. The season opener against division rival Cincinnati Bengals, featuring Joe Burrow, epitomizes the stakes. A young rookie quarterback, emerging from controversy, going head-to-head with an established franchise star. The narrative writes itself, and the pressure is enormous. Sanders' preparation and composure will be under intense observation. The organization has cleared the path for him, providing first-team reps, playbooks designed to maximize his strengths, and a locker room environment realigned around his leadership. Yet this clarity comes with a double-edged sword. Any misstep could be magnified in the media, framed as evidence that Stefanski's suppression was justified. Conversely, brilliant play will validate the commissioner's unprecedented intervention and vindicate Sanders' talent. The spotlight is unavoidable, and the margin for error is slim. The Browns' coaching staff also faces extraordinary pressure. Interim head coach Jim Schwartz must integrate a rookie quarterback, navigate the lingering organizational fallout, and maintain team cohesion. Offensive schemes now revolve around Sanders' mobility, deep ball accuracy, and improvisational skills, yet implementing these concepts weeks before the regular season presents challenges. Every practice, every game plan, every decision carries heightened significance. The team's competitive viability depends on Sanders' ability to perform under extraordinary scrutiny while adapting to a new system on the fly. Beyond football execution, the social and cultural stakes are equally high. National media coverage will dissect every play, every gesture, and every comment. Social media sentiment swings rapidly, magnifying successes and failures. Fans and analysts alike are debating whether Sanders' performance justifies the unprecedented lifetime ban, whether the Browns' organization can recover trust, and whether the league has set a new standard for accountability. Sanders is not only playing for wins, he is playing to prove a broader point about talent, fairness, and integrity in professional football. In short, Sanders' rookie season is shaping up to be a crucible. Success could redefine his legacy, the Browns' culture, and even league standards for accountability. Failure, however, could intensify scrutiny, fuel skepticism about intervention, and place him under relentless pressure. Every snap, every throw, and every decision will be magnified, making this more than a football season. It is the ultimate test of resilience, talent, and character. As the Cleveland Browns prepare to enter the 2025 season, one truth stands clear: nothing will ever be the same. The Stefanski scandal reshaped the team, the league, and the way players, coaches, and fans view accountability in professional football. A lifetime ban for a head coach was unprecedented, a decisive action that sent shockwaves across every locker room in the NFL. Yet even as justice appears to have been served, the story is far from over. Questions linger, stakes remain sky-high, and the pressure on Shador Sanders has never been greater. Sanders now carries the weight of expectation from multiple directions. His performance will not only define his career, but also serve as a living testament to fairness and integrity in sports. Every throw, every decision, every leadership move will be analyzed, dissected, and debated nationwide. A brilliant season could validate the commissioner's intervention and cement Sanders' place as a franchise quarterback. But even one misstep could reignite skepticism, provide fodder for critics, and test the team's fragile organizational stability. The Browns themselves face ongoing challenges. Investigations into the front office, coaching staff, and organizational culture continue. Lawsuits, both from Stefanski and potentially from Sanders' family, could extend for years, keeping the team under a microscope far beyond the field. Rebuilding trust with players, free agents, and draft prospects remains an uphill battle. Every decision made this season, from roster management to coaching strategy, will be judged in the shadow of the scandal. League-wide, the implications are enormous. Coaches, players, and agents now understand that systematic suppression, favoritism, or unethical behavior carries real, career-altering consequences. The NFL has set a precedent, forcing every organization to reevaluate internal dynamics and player protections. Social media, fan engagement, and public scrutiny have proven they can shape outcomes, holding power accountable in ways previously unimaginable. And yet, as the regular season approaches, the ultimate question remains unanswered. Can the Cleveland Browns survive the aftermath, rebuild unity, and thrive under extraordinary scrutiny? Can Sanders perform at the level demanded of him, or will the weight of history, expectation, and controversy prove too heavy? One thing is certain: the next chapter is about to be written, and the world will be watching every single play. The Shatter-Sanders era has officially begun, but the story is far from complete. Scandals, victories, setbacks, and revelations await. Who will rise, who will fall, and how will the NFL landscape shift forever? The answers lie just beyond the opening whistle.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow and lets us know you love this kind of content. And hey, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your friends, your group chats, or anyone who loves football as much as you do. The more the conversation spreads, the better it gets. Most importantly, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss when we drop fresh stories, wild rumors, or breaking updates that the mainstream media won't talk about.